Hey everybody, it's Friday morning, day 2 of Comic-Con. We're gonna go check everything out, go talk to some people. Let's do this. So, you're like doing vending, you're like a vendor outside out here, doing like caricatures and stuff.
It's called a busker.
Oh, you're busking. Okay, I thought that was only musicians.
No,
So you could be an artist busker.
It's like a free trade.
That's cool, man.
Public area.
What's your name?
Jabril.
Jabril. Where can people find you online? Do you have an online presence at all?
Yeah, sorry, it's like covered.
It's covered up a bit. Right there.
Did you sign in?
So I have tried to busk years ago, 7 years ago. I set up here. I had comic books because I couldn't get in there because of some paperwork issues. But I had all my books and I was selling them for about 15 minutes. People were buying them. Then the cops came. They asked for my ID. They said, you don't have a permit by the city of San Diego. You got to go. And I wasn't about to argue with them, so I bounced.
Yeah.
They're not busting people up here?
No,
What's
not
up with
anymore. That was a while ago, but
Yeah,
I
it
do
was
have
like seven or 8 years ago is when that happened.
Yeah, I do have a vending permit, but it's like in designated areas, and it's not even in like. There's no designated areas. It's funny too. Like it costs like $100, and then you're like, where can I go? And they're like, oh, you can't really go anywhere.
Exactly. Well, I had a seller's permit
Yeah.
by California, but I needed the city of San Diego permit as well. And I was like, well, I don't have one for San Diego. I have one in California.
I used to carry it around. I don't even know where it is anymore.
So they don't. So they're not. No one's
this
asking
one.
you.
Sidewalk vending.
Oh,
And,
check
take a
that.
little picture on there.
Oh, so you have that. So if they were to come, you could be like, hey, this is what I can do.
Yeah, but
you haven't seen no cops going and messing with these
But
people.
now they designated it to like you see the end of this grass.
The grass here. Yeah.
See here to there only, and then that little area where those tents are.
Yeah.
So they put it all over there now.
Oh.
So, but I mean, you're allowed to do whatever you want, as long as you're not, blocking traffic. You can go pretty much. I mean,
I might do. That's actually not a dumb idea for people who like can't get in there, who are making comics or art like you.
Yeah.
You know, come out here, busk for a few hours, make sure it's quick to sit down if you need to, and just make a few bucks. Are you making are people coming, or is it kind of hard?
I mean,
yeah.
Usually,
Oh, good.
This is usually like the best weekend for the year for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Are you from here then?
No, I'm originally from New York.
You from New York, but do you
I
live?
here.
You live here now.
It's
Okay.
like my 8th Comic-Con or something.
Oh wow. Okay, so you've been doing this a while.
Yeah, I usually busk over at Mission Beach.
Yeah.
Balboa Park.
Yeah, that seems like that would be a good spot.
So I'm like,
Cool, man.
I mean, I've been doing this for like 12 years now.
Wow. Have you, there's those like same type of thing, caricature portraits at like Disneyland, all the theme park stuff. Is that easy? Can you get into those kind of gigs, or is that like through some kind of agency?
It's a company. I used to work
really?
for Cayman's Art a while back. So.
And they kind of supply those artists for like theme parks.
Well, yeah, they found me in my illustration class in college at
Okay.
university, and
Okay.
they asked for me to audition for them.
Oh, really?
That's how I got into
Oh, okay.
it.
And did you
like,
do it for a while?
Yeah, I did it for
Oh.
like a year.
And then you just sort of over
Yeah, I
it.
just do my own thing, and I could do my own parties, weddings,
Right.
birthdays,
That's cool.
but
Yeah. Well, if you're ever up north a bit in Venice Beach,
I
dude.
do.
Okay,
Venice
because I'm
Beach
supposed to
all the
say,
time.
yeah, because I go to Venice Beach and you'll make money because
Yeah.
people are there, dude.
Well, yeah, it's not really a money thing. It's more of a time thing. Like the more time you're out,
Yeah,
you're gonna
that's true.
make $50 to $60 an hour.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
if you're in a good run,
yeah.
you can only draw so fast.
Yeah.
Or the price. My prices are fair.
Right.
So I usually get
cool,
pretty
man.
busy.
Well, good, dude. Hey. Okay, little weather update. It is straight up cold. It's like windy. It's chilly. It's like a little bit of drizzle. Was not expecting this, but it's actually kind of refreshing. So we're gonna walk around a little bit, and then I got a panel about filmmaking in a minute. I really want to do this event, but it's ticketed, it's sold out, and I would have to wait for like 3 hours, so I'm not gonna do it. But it looks really freaking cool. It's all New Orleans speakeasy stuff, and it's supposed to be really cool. But again, These things are just so hard to do, man. Dang.
And we're the Knowledge of Nothing podcast, and we really. Oh, okay. Okay. So we're the Knowledge of Nothing podcast, and we've been around 150 episodes. Just hit our 10,000 downloads. I know that took a while, but hey, we're having fun. It's all about pop culture, the things that are pop culture related, and just celebrating everything in the pop culture universe. So,
what is your most popular episode?
Our most popular episode is actually something that a segment we came up called Idiots on Idioms. So basically, we are a bunch of idiots that try to figure out the genesis of some of the popular idioms that are out.
Like Bob's your uncle.
Yes,
whatever,
yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. And is this you and some other people?
It's me. Yeah, it's me and my friend Brian. Brian, want to come on? Brian is also my co-host.
Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, well, it's called the Knowledge of Nothing podcast, and basically it's just a bunch of friends just talking about pop culture and nothing really, whatever whatever we kind of want to talk about based on pop culture and video games and things like that.
And is this on like iTunes?
This is on all the major streaming platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Amazon,
Okay.
Google.
Okay, cool. What is the thing you love about? I mean, what do you really like about doing it?
So we really love. This is a chance for us to kind of get together. I moved out of state recently, and this is a chance for me to hang out with my friends, my buddies from work, and we just talk about things and just have a good time. And the one thing that we really pride ourselves on is just to be fun and entertaining, be that escape for people that are having like hard times, and just a hour a week where they can kind of get away from it and have a couple of chuckles and a couple of laughs, and it's all in good-hearted fun.
Perfect, man.
All
Anything
right.
else? Any last statement, comment? Sell me on it.
Yeah, tune into the Knowledge of Nothing. We're very consistent with our shows. We're not good, but we're consistent, and who knew that knowing nothing could be so much fun.
There you go. Thanks, buddy. This is just like everybody being herded up in this line that goes then up the escalators and waits at the top there. So it's not opening for another hour, but like of course everyone's here, and so it's kind of hectic. Just a lot of waiting around. Comic-Con has really stepped up the merch game. They have like a full store here now with like a lot of different options. On shirts, hats. That hat's actually kind of nice.
$9.99.
Thank you, ma'am. They got visors. They don't got bucket hats, so I want a bucket hat. They've got pins. Look at all these shirts and hoodies, dude. They're a little pricey, but you got options like a mother. So that's kind of cool. I feel that. Yeah. Kind of neat. A lot of freaking stuff here. Hoodies over here. More shirts. More hoodies. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Let everybody know. So one of the things that I did not mention yesterday, but we'll start the day with today, is that it is a hard and fast rule that the more you do in pre-production, the less problems you will have in production. Pre-production is a time where it's just your time. You can spend as much time as you need setting up, getting things organized, getting things scheduled, and planning. Once you actually get to your set, that clock starts ticking. And the sun is going to go down. You've got only X number of hours before you can get all the shots that you need on your shot list, and problems will start presenting themselves. Or just questions will start presenting themselves. As the director, you're going to be hit with a million questions from everybody, from your DP to your actors to your sound guy to anybody. How much of this do you want? How much do you want of this? So your attention is going to be pulled in a million different directions.
You look awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. You look
Aloha.
great. Aloha.
I'm the great Maui.
Awesome. You look great, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
We're here. Lunchtime here. Just had some lunch. Had some tacos. And now walking through Gaslamp. Gonna go back into the con. Maybe find some people to talk to, some interviews. So still need to do some cosplay photos. I haven't really done a lot of photography yet. So these guys selling these freaking CDs, dude. Just straight hustling. Just straight hustling, dude. They give it to you for free, then they charge you $10. It's a straight hustle. And it's like, not even, dude. Go in there.
I don't know the exact date. I'm going up to LA next week, and doing what I'm doing here. Yeah, so that is what it is. We support independent artists, independent films, and not the major studios. Yeah, this is right now.
Area, please. Okay.
Sorry. Awesome. Those are cool figures.
And pulp
You
stuff.
sold this one.
Yeah. I didn't sell this to someone at the convention, but if I hadn't have been on the phone with the guy already anyway, somebody
Yeah.
at the convention probably
Yeah.
would have bought this.
Yeah.
I sold this.
Who's that? Oh, Taylor. Oh, okay.
And it's
So kind of
sold,
cartoon.
palm string.
Yeah.
A lot of pulp stuff,
Pulp sells here good.
pulp interiors and stuff like that. A lot of cheap stuff sells.
So
And
the
by cheap stuff, I mean
10 grand and under.
not super cheap, but say 300 to 800,
Oh,
because that's stuff that people feel like they can afford.
right.
Maybe they just like the art form
Yeah.
and they want to get
Yeah.
involved, but they don't have $42,000.
Yeah. Well, I think Albert Moy, someone has Robert McGinnis for 20 grand, that painting. It's a little, I mean, it's a great piece. I love that. But 20
I
grand.
just stepped out, an hour or two ago and saw it. You can see across the room.
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
What it is.
It's kind of small. I was surprised. I thought he was a little bigger, but that seemed a small piece.
I think he probably knocked that one out in an afternoon. That particular one.
Yeah. So more kind of interior comics sell, kind of local magazine pulp stuff sells more than.
It's kind of hard to categorize.
Oh, really?
Themselves.
You just kind of think about like, what do I want to bring? Because you only have limited space of what you have.
And I'm always surprised to a certain extent by what people buy or what people ask.
Yeah. What is like something that's wild that people have asked for and you're like, would never have thought that? Is there some like unexpected things or stuff that you would?
Yeah,
or,
I mean not so much at Comic-Con itself, but in general.
Yeah. Like peanuts or those kind of strips. Do you ever get asked for that kind of stuff?
I get asked for that kind of stuff
all the time. Or like, did Watterson ever sell any of his Calvin Hobbes, or does
He
he?
really didn't. It's all at Ohio State University.
Okay.
But a small number of pieces did get at
Goodness, it looks so nice right there. And there's Jeff Jones. You can see him there often. You could sit here and look at these for days. There's Rizzo. Some 100 bullets, looks like. Yeah, 100 bullets. That's a good page.
out
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And those command very high prices.
I'd imagine.
But
mean,
I don't get them.
Yeah,
There's plenty of other places to go with.
Yeah. You've always been in this spot. Is this like kind of your favorite place as far as the location of the con? I always feel like you're in this corner. It's a good intro to the illustration area, right, when they're coming this way.
And there's not that much in the way of illustration area left.
Yeah. No, it's like it was a couple of newer guys, but yeah, it's just like a handful of this kind of era.
It's a very small group.
Yeah.
And it all used to be down at the other end.
Was it? Was it all down that way?
Yeah.
By the comics
I don't
and the
know
Golden Age, whatever.
how many years ago.
Yeah. Look at these Beasley pages. Wow. Wow. 60 grand for that. Judge Dredd. Amazing. Wow, these are a lot. This is like... There's Basil Wolverton. Here's some Ashley Wood. I can't believe I had some and I sold it. I just feel so, it gets me so mad. These are nice. Oh, his sketches. Some breakdowns. Yeah. Draw 300. Beautiful. David Mack, looks like. I want that so bad. Oh my gosh, I want that. The Cyclone. I want the Cyclone really badly. Oh, I want that Combat Alpha. That is so cool.
I don't like George Animal Steel that much, man. You gotta get that weight on that. Oh yeah.
What you gonna do, brother?
That's awesome. Dude, Honky Tonk Man. We're here with Paul Martinez. You guys know him from another previous episode we did interview. We're at Comic-Con San Diego, the biggest show, I think, in the world. I mean, I think there's the Comiket in Japan's bigger, but we'll just...
Biggest in the nation.
The biggest of the nation, for sure. Of the Western world. Well, Anduin might be big. I didn't even...
Is that? Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
Okay.
big. That's big, but it's not like this.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, what do you think? Why is this a great show? Or is this a great show? Why is it? Yeah. Why do you love the show? We talked about it yesterday.
That's
You're
like three separate questions.
Okay.
Why is this a great show? Is it a great show? Why do you love the show? Well, I love the show because I've been coming here since I was 17, 16, somewhere around there. Hi, Rosa. This is Rosa. Right?
Hey, Rosa.
Yeah, so I've been coming for a long time, and I got to watch the show grow, right? So when I first started coming, it was big, but they didn't even use the whole floor yet. It was maybe...
It was like,
Yeah, the floor was maybe 75%, and it was just a lot fewer people.
Yeah.
And watching grow over the years, it's been fun. Sometimes it gets a bit like, okay, there's a lot of people here. I can't even walk around.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just fun seeing it grow and seeing some of the same exhibitors in the same spot. And it starts to feel like summer camp, coming back every year and saying hi to those people.
What could be better? Like, if you could give a comment box.
I think part of that's out of their control. And a few years ago, they wanted to expand a convention center, and then the city said no. I think they had really great plans. They need more.
Actually build, like they were gonna do construction.
Yeah. So they need some more square footage. Not just to expand to allow more booths, but just to have more room. Because I mean, you could pan right now and see how crazy it is.
Yeah, it's big. So one of the things they've done, I mean, is everything. There's a lot outside. There's the Hilton.
Yeah.
There's the Marquis Marriott. There's, I mean, a good 25-30% of the panels and things are off-site. I mean, off this building site.
Yeah.
Then there's outside the gas lamp. There's all the pop-up, the promotional stuff. So there's a lot going outside. Does that hurt exhibitors? Is that not good? Actually, we want to keep people here.
I don't
What do you
feel
think?
it. No, I don't feel it at all. It's fine. And there's so many people in here anyway, and there's so many people that want to come down here. Maybe they only have a day ticket anyway, so they're going to be downtown in Gaslamp or whatever. So no, I haven't noticed that affecting any of this.
Is there anything specific that you're excited about to see this year, or just, making
Excited
business?
to see?
Or do, or meet, buy?
No, I can't think of anything. I mean, I always like just checking out small press and seeing who's making what. I also like checking out the big companies and seeing what kind of crazy products they come up with. Because this is a place where you see everything.
Yeah.
All the products coming out for the next year or so.
That was going to be my next question is, as a creator, you're always trying to find something new and unique and individual. Do you do some kind of recon, competitive analysis type of what's big, what's hitting, what's out there at all?
I think, you got to do it all the time. And sometimes you'll walk around, you'll see something, oh, that's a good idea. I should make one of those, whatever it is. And then sometimes you'll go around and see, oh, every independent creator has that, or every company has that object. And that doesn't mean you should make one. It's just that they all thought they should make one months ago when they were prepping. Yeah. And doesn't mean those things are selling. So you have to do a little bit of reality check there and say, should I make one of those? And if everyone has one, maybe I shouldn't, because why?
Do you post-con do like an analysis? I know you look at, products sold. You have a spreadsheet that you kind of keep track of what you've sold, things like that, as just as a normal business side. But is there any other kind of like metrics or things you look at? Do you have an inventory of cards you go through, business cards you get, that kind of stuff after?
Not really. I meet people, they'll give me their business card, we'll talk about projects here. There's no number, a ratio I can't put on like success for those. It's random. Yeah. But sometimes it does. Sometimes it ends up with a cool project later. Definitely that's how I got my gig with Neil Gaiman when I did a few things for him. I just met his people at a con and went from there.
Yeah. Is there anything specific that you want to promote here while I got you to share, or anything exciting? No?
Pariah, Missouri. I designed the cover for Pariah, Missouri a few years ago. I'm very proud of that book and my contribution. Good. Is there anything you want to talk about in the interview? I have to look over there? Okay.
Where can we find you online?
The19xx.com.
Whoa, that's cool.
It really just depends where you want to put the stuff. Well, like, I could see this like this. Oh, what the fuck? Some rockabilly stuff. Yeah. Everything's
That's cool.
But it's like 45 minutes. What do you want? Maybe should we go to the outside?
What do you think?
I don't want to miss it.
This is a comic book panel. We're at a comic book con, and if you guys have some time, I highly recommend go to both these sections. Small press, if you guys don't know what that is, check it on the map, or go to Artist Alley, because this is what this is all based on. It's these creators building their own IP, their own comic books, their own blood, sweat, and tears, making new stuff. So it's really cool. I always try to go through everybody and see what's out there and support them. So highly recommend that. I'm excited about this because I love process. So when we think about process, comic book creating process, I generally think of the standard traditional way of doing comics. You have a script, you have breakdowns or a page kind of outline. You have the pencils that go to inking, that then go to colors, that then go to lettering, and then finally putting it in some sort of a book design format to then go to a printer, right? That's kind of the traditional steps of making a comic. Now that we're in the digital world, let's talk a little bit about how that goes, and we'll start with Christine. Where are you digitally? How long have you been doing your work digitally and with mobile? From when you were doing it analog, or did you ever do analog?
Well, okay, so for me, I've been doing Demon Bitch and putting her on Webtoon for about a few years. And people unfortunately think that when you do stuff online, it's instantaneous gratification. I'm gonna get millions of followers, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get so many likes and whatever the heck YouTube crap you get type thing. It does not work that way. If it does, good, you're one of the lucky ones. But for the most part, you have to build up an audience. And there's ways to do it, like you could put your website on a QR code, give that away at cons along with your table number for free. By the way, I'm giving you free sales advice here on top of that. So people can return to your table and talk to you. That way it's oh, I can meet her at N05 and small press. So you always have to announce your presence in that way. Secondly, I would say that would also vastly grow your viewership, as well as likes and ratings and all that other fun stuff. And number two, I would say that when doing analog, I actually prefer to do comics visually, just because drawing the stupid boxes over and over again, I can't draw a straight white line with a damn circle. If anybody ever says they can't draw a circle or anything, or a straight line with a damn, and that's why they're not a good artist, no. Get that out of your head. I can't draw a straight line shit, but whatever. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of things that you have to work around. You have to actually be very adaptable online. And sometimes you have to observe the logarithms or kind of give it a space of time. People are under the mistaken impression, I gotta post every single hour, minute of the day. No, that one should choke it. So yeah, it's not fun. So all I'm saying is that you need to go and plan it, but don't micromanage it. Just go with it, type stuff.
Do you do your like page compositions on paper at all, or is it all digitally from the script on, or do you do anything?
Well, what I do is that I actually have a template for Demon Bitch in my Clip Studio Paint. And we can elaborate on that later. In Clip Studio Paint, because it saves me time to do the extra thing of, oh, I gotta do the frame again and all that. So I save it, and then when I save the finished cartoon, it's a different file. So it's its own work file. When I used to do it, I don't know if anybody remembers this here, but I didn't have a monitor tablet for the longest time. I would actually look at the monitor and do this, and that really hurts, and that's so annoying to master. That was better than drawing it, scanning it, and all that other jazz, and using a ruler and everything. So I did the tablet, but it was basically looking at the monitor. But when I got a monitor tablet, that was so much easier.
Yeah. I'm using, I do both a iPad for that direct, and I also have a Wacom. If the Wacom's big and it's at your house, right? What's nice about this mobile thing is I can take the iPad and, at the con, while no one's around, you can like work on your book. Now, you mentioned Webtoons. I started putting some of my stuff on Webtoons, and because of the format change, because it's like scrolling down, there is definitely some like changes in like narrative design and stuff. Did you have to kind of like translate your book into that kind of scrolling style of comics?
Well, I really didn't do that. I went ahead and I just looked at the general format, like if they said 800 by 1600, I'll just throw an arbitrary number out. And then what I would do is that I would just kind of format it that way. I know that there's other things like, if you look at Laura Olympus, Rachel Smiles, she's got this whole scrolling thing.
Yeah.
With me, I just am impatient as hell, and I just get annoyed very easily, so I'll just go into a quick little scroll like that and say, there you go, we're done. And then maybe I'll put like little ad things on the bottom, not like super crazy, but like, oh, here's my QR code for my website. Right. That's also the thing. I kind of interject that whenever I can. Yeah. I've also noticed that people, like I came from a time when we first had started the internet, and then we would do URLs, like, okay, www.oratorstudios.com, but as now we've gotten QR codes, people have that hard of hearing, like, what was the URL, what? So it's better just to have the QR code, there's no mistake in transcription, you can record it on your phone as like it opened up in your Safari or whatever, and just transpose it later. Hell, I use Google Keep a lot, that's kind of like notes. So you can copy paste it onto the thing, and then go on your desktop, log into your Google Keep, and pull it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it that way.
Thanks. So Marcus, let's go to you talking about Lightning Strike. How long have you been doing that through mobile and through digital means?
I started on a mobile, using a mobile device probably for about 7 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got into it like real slow. Because at first I was just like Christian Sim said, I would draw my image and I would put it on the computer and look up at the monitor and try to stay on task by not looking down. But like having a mobile device like saves so much time. Yeah, especially now that if you're working in a proper program that actually helps out with a lot of nitpicking stuff.
Yeah. And like Christine, do you do it start from finish all on your mobile device, or do you do some
sketches, the thumbnails that I do all on the mobile device?
Yeah. What about the end product? So you do print, right? You have printed books of Lightning Strike. So how do you what program do you use to actually put it in InDesign, or do you use Illustrator to like make it a book, a PDF, just to the printer, or how do you do that?
So once I format, because I can do everything from the program. Like as far as like, to combine all the pages.
Like to make the book, yeah,
yes,
to be print ready.
I don't know as far as Christian device, but with the iPad, you can select all your images and it will say compressed into PDF. And it will like put it into a PDF for you.
That's it?
Yep.
So you don't put it in InDesign, you don't do any of that, you just go make up one PDF, boom, and you can ship that to the printer.
Yep, and it will put it all in the right order that you need it to do.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's really easy. Like, yeah, okay, cool. Excellent. So your end pages, your cover, all that kind of stuff is all just done on the same program.
Yep.
And
you can put notes in there too for your printer when you open up the PDF.
yeah. We should actually mention too, I apologize, we should mention like what devices, because some of you guys might be interested in what devices we're using. So, Christy, you use your what?
I use a Surface Pro. I think it's a 3. And what you have, it's really good because the sensitivity is very good.
And that's what we're showing right now on the screen. So that's that's Manga Studio, or I guess it's called Clip Art or
no, that's Clip Studio Paint.
Clip Studio Paint.
Yeah, and I can get into that in a minute with that. So I have a Surface Pro, and what I wanted to do is I didn't really want a tablet ideally, just because I was more used to a laptop format, you know, because I also wanted to multitask and use it for other things. Like, okay, since I'm the president or I run my own company, I have to be able to write out emails. I'm not saying you can't on the iPad, but I prefer to have a keyboard or something of that issue. And it had a little bit more processing power. Now we can go and get at each other about how much it is, but I just did it. And also I'm a Costco member, so they had like a Surface Pro, like all at once. Like the only thing you have to, Costco seems to have the best bundle. It'll happen around Christmas time. It's like $200 to $300 off a lot of the time. And that's nice for tax, so you don't need to pay any additional tax. Another thing too, Clip Studio Paint I think is the best bang for buck. I know some people still use Photoshop, but what I hated about Photoshop, and what was starting to do, since I'm primarily a PC user, and no hate towards Mac, but I would put down something like this, and I would try to draw a line, and the thing is that would hang with that blue circle of death. Like, just every time, imagine this, like you're doing this every time, and every time you're trying to go across the page, it hangs and it hangs and it hangs, and I got tired of that. So I went to Clip Studio Paint because the format was very similar, like the UI was very similar, but what was nice was that it could save it kind of vectorized, so it was high resolution. It did have to finagle a bit because you had to deal with Japanese measurements, but they do have American measurements, so it's not that you can switch. What's nice, and unfortunately I can't, this is the only thing that sucks about mobile anything, is that I can't access it, but what's nice is that Clip Studio does have this thing where right here, Clip Studio Assets, and what I have found what's great about Clip Studio Paint is that the pens, the brushes, the erasers, the painting, like if you paint it, like if you want to do a watercolor or whatnot, they will actually, it reproduces the real effect better. And it's more streamlined, it's not going to lag it down like Adobe. Unfortunately, I do still use Adobe for other things, but this is one of the things that I've switched completely out of Adobe for, but it will save in a Photoshop document. And then what else is great is that if you ask questions, it's very easy to answer. And what's nice is that it will save it in your cloud. So whatever work you're working on, you can save it in the cloud as well. And this would be the localized cloud in Clip Studio Paint.
Excellent. Marcus, what about you? What's the device and software you use?
So I jumped back and forth from 2 different programs, Procreate and Clip Studios. I can't pick one over the other because I like both of them for 2 different reasons. Well, a few different reasons. Like when I'm working on my comic book stuff, I always use Clip Studios because pretty much what Christian said. What I like about it is being able to refine it and not destroy your image. And just how it, the brush, how you feel, the layout, it's definitely similar to Photoshop, but I made transition over to Clip Studios a lot easier. What I like about, another thing about Clip Studios, it has a 3D feature, where say if I can't visually or, create a angle of my character, you can drag a 3D image, you can rotate and move. I really wish I could actually show it, but you'll be able to drag they have all these 3D pictures where you can drag over to your canvas and you can move the figure how you want to, like the joints and everything, how you want to. Let me just turn my tablet around. Oh, you can actually do. No, I can't show it. I was going to do it on yours. Okay.
Okay. While he's doing that, I use Procreate on the iPad, which seems to be pretty simple and intuitive. And then on my Wacom, I use Manga Studio, which is the old name of Clip Studio or Clip Studio Paint. It's super cheap, and I think it's definitely for making comics more powerful than Photoshop. For the book design, the actual like getting ready for the printer, I use InDesign by Adobe. Let's go real quick to Dawn because we haven't talked about you yet. So Dawn, what do you use? What are the devices and software you use generally when you're on mobile?
So on mobile, what I'm working from now is a Galaxy Note 9. I've always had a Galaxy Note series, started with 2, and I use it. I started doing storyboards from my phone, just Dropboxing them to people. I have some friends in the industry, and they're like, "Oh, we know this guy can Dropbox you storyboards, so if you just pay him, he'll send them to you really quickly." And so that kind of got me known in some circles. And then I also do all my thumbnails and layouts from my phone, so as you can see, I'm doing a real quick, sort of bulky character sketch like the Hulk. But yeah, I start everything off, I use the Galaxy Note, and then the other app that I use primarily for sketching is Autodesk Sketchbook. I'm a huge fan of it. For the most part, it used to be free, but now they're doing a premium version, so they're returning back to a subscription model. But I'm okay with paying the $2. Because as cheap as I am, if you guys don't know about this, there's a Google Rewards app, which allows you to do like 10-second surveys and accumulate points. So if you do enough surveys, you basically have a cache of Google Rewards that you can just use to pay for apps, which is what I do. Stick it on the cheap. So it doesn't cost a lot to get started. I think that is probably the biggest message that we can get here. It's more about the cost, I think, of equipment and like hardware, and that's where most of your investment in. But there's so many options for apps. Like you're using Clip Studio, right?
Yeah.
That was what, like a $10 app or something?
Procreate is $10.
Procreate is $10, right? And then Clip Studio has like a yearly sale where it's what, like 26, 27 bucks?
Yeah,
Well, it's
that's
like
what
this,
Manga
it's-
Studio was.
I think it's like, from what I understand, like, because I get the newsletter, I think it's biannually and it's 50% off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they'll run a lot of sales in between. So get the 50% off one. So it's like the standard Clip Studio is like $50. So if you get the 50% off, you can buy more than one license.
So Dawn, when you do these kind of sketches on your Note, do you then transfer them over to your iPad to kind of do more fully rendered stuff when you're actually working on like Pablo the Gorilla?
Yeah, I actually don't use the iPad all that much. It's nice if I'm traveling and I have to up-res, but I can do most of it from my phone, and when I go to print, then I actually go to my desktop. So I have a Wacom Cintiq 24 Pro, and I'll do all the details from there, because at that point, you need to use at least 300 DPI if you're not working on 425 or above. But the thing is, if you're looking at what I'm working on right now, so I have pre-formatted pages. So this is actually formatted to a comic book page, and so I basically just use it as a template for all my pages. And then when I need to up-res, I can. You can futz in, here, let me show you. So if you start a new sketch, you can actually go and futz with the DPI dimensions. You just have to calculate it out mathematically. The only difference there is, I think with the paid version, you now can have a few hundred layers. So it's all contingent upon memory usage. So you just have to calculate out, what that surface area is, the DPI you want to work in, and then when you import it into your desktop, you can adjust it accordingly, and it will resize your image to the appropriate DPI. So it's, you gotta do a little bit of math.
Cool. So comics to me has always been the synergy between pictures and words. And lettering and words are a very critical part of the comic, if not 50%. So my experience is that lettering really sucks on mobile, but I want to hear you guys pitch me how you letter your comics using mobile devices. Or do you use your Cintiq or your desktop? Go. Christy. How do you letter?
Yeah, I kind of do the thing of lettering in this way. I actually write it out in the comic, but generally what I do for mostly to save it is that I actually go to a free use font and type it in. Now people go like, oh, that's cheating, but considering that with mobile devices, the backlash is that, well, since we're typing and texting to each other a lot, our handwriting is going to crap. So when I write, it's terrible. So I have to like write it as an art. Not that lettering isn't an art, but I mean, like if I'm writing sound effects, they are part of the image. But for the most part, I just find a font and type with it. So it's like, because what people kind of fail to see in comic book lettering is that it's supposed to fit the image.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It is an art form in itself. So sometimes when people use, God forbid, Comic Sans Serif, it looks like crap. And what kind of offsets a comic, and this is another comic art format, just be aware that when you letter a comic, make sure it fits your image. That's it. So pick a font, and there's a lot of standard comic fonts anyway, but they all have slight differences. So just make sure, like, and what's great about digital is that you can just type it out and like, okay, that looks right. So.
Right. Yeah, test it out. What about you, Marcus? How do you do your lettering digitally? Or
So I do my lettering. I actually use this program called Comic Light, where it has like a garage full of free fonts, sound effects, font styles, etc. It's pretty cool. And it keeps everything centered in the word document. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's got all these different shapes of word bubbles, and kind of makes a cool little sound when you put it in there as well. But it's pretty like useful. And it's like Christian Shin said, you have to plot your word bubbles out as you create where the word bubbles goes to go.
Yeah, planning your page design and where that big paragraph is that this character's saying is critical, right? Because you're going to wind up replacing her head unintentionally or something like that if you don't work out the panel. What about you, Dawn? How do you do your lettering digitally? Do you do it on the Wacom or do you?
Yeah, I use my desktop for lettering. You get the cleanest lettering to me in Illustrator.
Yeah.
And it's just the best setup. For trying to figure out where lettering goes sometimes, I'll stuff bubbles, because, I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with lettering, or if you're starting out in comics, please have good lettering. Just pick up a guide. There's some fantastic ones out there. If you want one, come up to my booth and I'll send you a PDF of one of the best, easy to understand lettering guides. But basically, you always want to give yourself thirds or fifths to make sure that there's space for your letter to come in. I'm a weirdo. I will draw art all the way throughout in terms of like backgrounds and stuff, just so, that's for myself and to have a guide. But I try to always leave enough space for the letter. But to me, again, desktop lettering is the best because working on a comics antique, especially, you're able to move things around so fast that you can really make minute adjustments throughout in terms of pushing in the size to make it a little straighter so that it's not completely ovoid, but a little more like a round rectangle. Because I think that looks the best in terms of professional lettering.
Yeah, there's a great resource, if you guys know who the book called Elephant Man is, but Richard Starkling did a series of books on lettering. I think he also created Comicraft, the company. So you can go check him out. He's a wonderful resource. His stuff online, you can look for to kind of get some lettering tips. Okay.
And also, there's a fantastic foundry of letters. If you sign up for Adobe Cloud, you'll have access to a ton of fonts, because I'm obsessed with fonts. But Nate Kiekos runs Blambot.
Okay.
And I think he's won Eisner's for his lettering, right?
Probably.
I believe so. And he offers free fonts. So they're free to use if you're an indie comic book creator. So he's also, I believe, nominated for this year Ringo. So please go and support Nate. And you can also buy his fonts in bunches. He sells a complete license to them. So if you go to Image, he has a license for that too. But it's a great resource.
Great. So we only have about 15 more minutes, but I do want to open it up for you guys. If you have any questions, let us know. If not, I can keep going. But is there any questions out there for these guys for kind of like you're interested in using mobile devices, iPads, phones for comics?
I missed the whole thing. What was the recommendation for software?
Well, everyone uses different ones. So as far as software, I think a lot of us like clip art. And we like Procreate for iPad, ClipArt for desktop or Android. What was the thing you used, Marcus, for lettering? What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Clip Studio Paint.
Oh, what did I say?
Clip art.
Sorry, Clip Studio Paint. I
Clip
apologize.
Studio Paint. But, you know, I would subscribe to their newsletter because twice a year they have sales and it's like 50% off.
Yeah. Clip Studio Paint is epic. Like, that's better than Photoshop for making comics.
Yeah. It's like normally selling $50, which is like a song compared to Adobe. And with Adobe, you don't have to do a subscription, at least on your desktop and on your Surface. That's another reason why I went with Surface, was because if you go to something like an iPad, then it's like an app, quote unquote, and then you'll have to go charge a subscription. I just like paying like one time.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Great question. We appreciate that. Sir, anybody else? Any other questions? Making comics digitally, pros and cons. What are some? Let's talk about some negatives. You know, let's be well-rounded.
Let's talk about the negative that we're experiencing here so far.
Presenting and connections.
Presentation issues. So apparently CCI's equipment does not like iPads. So if you guys are putting together a panel, please be aware of that. Moving forward, we're not going to be using iPads.
Yeah. But is there any things, I just want to open up to everybody, what are some things that you're like, I wish I could just do this on my, with a pen and a paper? What element of using mobile and using digital is kind of a pain?
I think basically, like, you're looking at connectivity issues. You're going to have to go and piece together and jigger together things. I mean, like, what's kind of been here, what's great about mobile is that it can be easy when it works, but when it's not, you have to be creative. So even though we were basically troubleshooting a lot of stuff, we still kind of went on as usual. So that's kind of what you have to learn with mobile is that you have to adapt. You have to adapt with the best thing. Like, we tried doing my hotspot. We tried doing a hotspot through his phone. We tried doing this. We tried doing that. We had this whole nice pretty presentation, and we're like, well, that didn't happen. But we still hopefully put together a very entertaining panel that was still informative.
Yeah.
So it will make you think outside the box.
Is it really just a metaphor for what we do in general? It's just jerry-rigging things and making it work?
Solving problems.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like where you have to go and kind of jigger with it and mess with it and do all these things, but at the same time you kind of have to go and not panic at the same time, because once you hamster, that is not a good thing.
Yeah.
If you do, allow yourself 5 minutes of freak out. And then
What about you, Marcus? What is kind of a negative of doing kind of using that iPad?
The negative?
Yeah.
I think the negative is you won't get the same feeling as pencil and paper. I will always, especially if I have time, I will always start with pencil and paper. You just can't, get that feeling, the way it sounds, the way it feels.
I kind of don't miss it as much.
Really?
Because for me, it's like I do all my stuff on digital, and it's nice and digital. But once in a while, I like to do analog. I like to call it. But usually analog, it's like I'm in the middle of doing something, and it's like, I can't draw my thing right now because me and go. I just go. So what I have to do is I have to draw it, like I'll draw a stupid ass little thumbnail on a piece of sketch paper. Okay, I remember this. Or I'll type it out in my phone, Demon Bitch does this, and she falls down a hole and she breaks her leg, and it's funny. But it gives me that gist of what I should do with it, and then it'll extrapolate on it more.
Do any of you guys kind of hybrid? So what I do a lot of times is I will actually do drawings fully, on paper, and then I scan them, and then I'll do touch-ups or do some effects digitally, and then maybe color digitally. Do any of you guys or reverse? I'll do it digitally, and then I'll color analog, and then rescan it. Do any of you guys do some hybrid stuff with that? Go ahead, tell me.
I do, like I said, I do a lot of layouts on my phone, but sometimes if I like the layout enough, I'll totally print it out on a tablet sheet and lightbox it. Because especially if I want it to be super clean, because I don't know if you guys saw me, but especially when I was doing onion skinning, you just drop your sketch layer down and then you start inking over it. It's basically the same principle when you lightbox, and that's a great way to work. And you could even, like you said, you can collage that way. Essentially, you're an inker who works really fine and can paint really well with gradations when you ink. That's a fantastic way to work.
Yeah. Marcus, you were going to say?
Yes, I think I mentioned before, like, I love to start off with pencil and paper and scan it. When I first got into digital, I had this long process where I will pencil it, ink it, scan it, upload it to Illustrator, vector it, you can send it to Photoshop, color it. And then I got introduced to a Cintiq tablet.
So you'd have multiple steps.
Yeah. So now, if I have time, I love to draw movements in paper.
Yeah.
You just can't beat that feeling.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Any other question? Raise your hand if you have a question. If not, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, go for it. Again.
Was there any difficulty? Did you adapt to these digital tools coming from like an analog background, like you said, type or pencil? Was there any difficulty adapting to tools?
I would say that I think digital tools have gotten more intuitive. I remember doing it back in the day where you just had the tablet and you had to look at your monitor and do this and develop, and it was such a pain in the ass. But you would actually develop, at least for me, I would develop, headaches and neck problems because I had to hold my hand and do that. But now, it's like, it's just drawing on a piece of paper, except it's more forgiving. So I would say that I think as time went on, the tools themselves got more intuitive to the person. And they get better, yeah.
Yeah.
¿De dónde eres? Where are you from?
Guerrero, Mexico.
Okay, and what brought, is this your friend or who's this?
Oh, my daughter.
Come
my
on,
daughter.
vengas acá con nosotros dos. Okay, what brings you to Comic-Con? Why did you come?
To El Chapulín Colorado. It's the Mexican superhero.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so you like to cosplay? Do you like to cosplay too?
Yeah, I do. I'm Comic Wanda.
Oh,
I took off my...
But you're Scarlet Witch, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So where do you live in Mexico? What part?
Guerrero.
Guerrero. What state is that in?
It's like Acapulco, Guerrero. You like someplace
okay,
like Guerrero,
okay.
yeah.
So you flew up here?
Yeah.
And you here for the whole time?
Oh, we live here, but originally it's from...
Yeah, we're from there.
But you live here in San Diego?
Yeah, we live here in San Diego, yeah.
So besides cosplaying, are there comics you like? Or, do you read comics or anime or movies?
Yeah, I like all superheroes.
Do you?
The Avengers and the Marvel movies, yeah.
Does Mexico have any good superheroes?
Just like that, and what else? I guess that's it, El Chapulín.
He's the only one?
That's it.
You have one?
I guess. We have a lot of actors, but,
He's the main one.
Yeah, the
okay.
family.
What do you love about Comic-Con? Is there something you love to come here for?
Yeah, I like the costume, the old merchandise, the old stuff, yeah.
What do you want to change? Is there something that you wish you could be better? What could be better? ¿Qué puede ser mejor?
I feel like it's just super packed. Like the little walkways, it's so small. Like everyone's just like hitting each other, bumping each other. But it's not bad. But I definitely wish it was more, a little bigger.
A little bigger, huh?
Yeah,
right on. Okay. Thank you so much for
You're
chatting
welcome.
with me.
Thank you.
So this is Ninja Funk. Tell me a little bit about
This
Ninja
is
Funk.
Ninja Funk. So Ninja Funk is our comic book. It is co-created by JPG McFly and Steve Schuett.
Okay.
Originally, they were a DJ duo under the name Ninja Funk.
Uh-huh.
And they both have loved comic books for a lot of their life. And during the pandemic, they decided, why not make a comic book? And so they wrote this story written in the language of music.
Now, when you say that, do you mean like the dialogue, or is like lyrics, or do
So
you mean it's
not
like
lyrical,
about?
but like there's a lot of references to music theory.
Right.
There's a lot of theory on like the frequency of Earth, the frequency of things around us, and so it really dives deep into that. And they try to put a lot of true music theory and science behind some of the, you could call it like powers that some of the characters have.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, and how is Kevin Eastman? I see that he's like
So
how's he
Kevin
involved?
Eastman did this cover for us. He actually homaged his own cover with our characters.
Yeah. So I figured. Okay.
Kevin Eastman is a super nice guy, really awesome.
And Whatnot, that's the publishing company?
Yes.
Okay. So potentially Whatnot will be publishing other books? Or
Correct.
things? Okay.
So they have other books under their name. First one that comes to mind is Crash Down.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of Comic Tom, that's his
Okay.
book that's coming out. Yeah.
Can I ask you about like the booth, the placement,
Sure.
where you're at? I feel like this is like a new book. It's a published book,
Mhm.
but yet you're kind of not over there where the comic books are. So tell me about the placement. Like, did you just like this is where you got, or?
Sure. Well, I mean, we used to be retailers. We are still retailers.
okay.
And I mean, we are around comic books. We're around comic book sellers.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, we are still growing. We would love to be on the
Yeah,
other side
I kind
of
of
the
feel like you should be by a small press or some, or by the publishers.
So hopefully, maybe
But
in the next couple of
year.
years, we'll make our way over
And this
there.
like thing is, so is this just like is it a light behind like a big screen, or
Yeah.
what is? It's a cool idea though, and I
Thank you.
like the diagonalness of it. I like the way it's like
And we
set
try
up.
to make it eye-catching. We
No,
want
it's
people to
very
come
cool.
ask us questions.
No, it's really cool. So are you selling these, or are you just promoting these, or coming out soon?
So
or?
we're selling them. So we're selling Con Exclusive
Yeah.
is the Kevin Eastman
Oh,
cover.
okay. Sorry.
And this is our
No, you got
trade
it, bud.
paperback with issues 1 through 4. And then
Okay.
we're also promoting our issue 5. This is
Okay.
a cover done by Natalie Sanders.
Okay.
Actually homaging David Mack's original Kabuki cover.
Okay, cool. And then tell me about this painting here. Is this like related to you guys?
Yeah, so
How is this
this
connected?
is a painting of one of the covers, actually.
Okay.
And that is actually JPG McFly's mom painted that.
Oh, okay. And so she kind of
she
like did
has
the
her
cover.
own cover for the book.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Okay, cool. Now, for people who are watching this online, where can they get this? Like, how do they?
Any local comic book shop.
Okay.
It really
You're
helps us
distributed
out.
through Diamond, or what? Or who is
Well,
it? Or how do you get it?
Our distributor is through Massive, I believe, is the
Okay.
distributor.
Okay.
But any comic book store has
We'll have them. Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is out now. Just
This
not
is out
this
now.
version, but the trade is out.
Well, the
Not the
individual
comics.
issues are out.
Oh, okay.
So issues 1 through 5 are in comic book stores now.
Okay,
And then
great.
trade paperback has gone out, so they may already be in the comic
Okay,
book
cool.
stores.
And your name? What's your name?
Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
You're
Thanks so much.
welcome.
The great designs. Great designs. Love the colors, all the detail. This is all in. It looks like it's all in Illustrator, or
Yeah,
no?
so my brother-in-law, he's an artist. He does it on Photoshop.
Okay, in Photoshop. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this one in particular, he actually put the entire series within the one print, and they're all chronological from the beginning of the series all the way to the end. Yeah.
So hang on. So this is Avatar, and so it's the beginning of the. Hang on. Let me just look at it.
There's a big one on this side right here, if you want more detail.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I like that idea. It's like the story. It's like the whole story. Yeah. Hey, you don't save yourself 20 hours. You just look at this. What a cool idea. That's smart. Really cool idea.
Okay, we're gonna go back to the con actually. I had fun last night dancing, but I think we might go check out the con just to see what's up. We might go dancing tomorrow, so let's go see what's up here. Maybe see something fun. Okay, it's about 9:40. We're gonna go watch a movie for a little bit. We might watch a little anime, I don't know. It's kind of fun seeing stuff. I'm a nerd, dude. I like to see this kind of stuff. I like to enjoy the idea of experiencing all that Comic-Con has. Maybe I can... Zombie side. That's cool. That's cool. That's a cool game. Oh yeah, rad. Let's check it out. We'll give it the first 10-20 minutes. Give it a shot as hospitality so we can actually get some treats if we wanted. Let's do it. Free treats in the hospitality suite. Chips, healthy stuff. I got peanut M&Ms and a Dr. Pepper because that's how I roll. We're celebrating. Got a couple people here. This is part of the con experience. So here we are.